Boom. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Let's do this in my favorite. Sepia. Like we used to do it. What to do, what to do, what to do. How to do, my man? Just wondering if you come back on. Yeah, I had a couple other things to do. And then, I decided that I'd just do the live stream instead of what I'm doing here. Instead of just, recording it. I mean, now that I got this little setup, I mean, it's a little better to do live streams. And if I'm doing them late at night, I'm free to smoke, so I might as well do it in here. So, anyway, all I've been doing is, ooh, look what's been showing up on my Discord. Ooh, got like these little caramel balls. Like, look at these, dude. Look at those. Those pretty dang banging. Live streams are fun. Oh fuck. Because we can interact with you. Of course, that's why. That's why I like doing them. Much prefer. You got Discord? Yeah. Yeah, I got everything. Yeah. You need to add me sometime. Well, go right ahead. I mean, you should be able to find out my name and everything. Hold on. There we go. I was just editing some other stuff, but that's not important right now. Everything's important over here. I need to first figure out if the seat can get higher. Oh, I can. Oh, thank God, because it's not having about that. Post server or your profile in the description sometime. Oh, I will. Don't worry. I got it all set up earlier, like a few hours ago, and I linked it with my Patreon, so I'm in the Deep Fat Fried Discord. I don't know if you're on there, but I'll be on there. So, essentially, you can find me on Twitter or the DFF Discord. That's probably where you're going to find me a lot now. Or on YouTube, if you just happen to find me on YouTube. But, I mean, as you can tell from this Ignarism, we're going to be delving into Christianity. And I thought I would do this as kind of like a series on Ignarism, kind of like a sub-series. Because I think it's important that, we debunk some of the bullshit. Did you create a server or just a profile? And yeah, I'm on DFF Discord. Both. I have both. I created a account and a profile, and then I got started with my own server. And here's the name of it. I don't think it will help just hear the name of it, but it's the Ignaris Perspective Official Communications. Have it all nice officialized, but there's literally just me. I mean, I'm not even totally done with it, I don't think. I just have a few roles popped up in place, but that's about it. Awesome, man. Yeah, it's a little confusing right now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little confused on a lot of things here, but give me a little bit. I'll learn. Is the DFF Discord patron only? I think so. I'm not entirely sure. I couldn't find any information about the patron or about the Discord until I linked it with my Patreon account, so I can only assume. But I think you just have to ask or something like that. I'm sure you can find it. It's around somewhere if you're not actually like a patron. But I am, so I have the availability of everything here. Oops. Oops, I accidentally went on to one of the patron voice things. Oops. Didn't mean to do that, but anyway. Let's get started with this. So, for this one, I pulled up, and this still irritates me sometimes, I pulled up Bill Nye, Destroying the Noah's Ark. You can't go wrong with that. And I also pulled some Aaron Raw, because the guy's awesome. And it's a continuation of Noah's Flood and shit. And we have Ben Shapiro. You always got to go for your Ben Shapiro. Which actually I wasn't expecting on picking up, doing my little bit of research here, but, it's here. And we also have a channel that is trying to say that an atheist got schooled asking a question. So this is like the big shebang. Like this is like a 20-minute clip, and the rest of these things are like 3 to 4 minute clips, and then we are gonna finalize with something. I kind of have it. I feel like I have like a pathway I'm gonna do these. I'm gonna kind of do it as, and we're gonna look at some biblical text, or at least like some biblical reference. We're gonna just look at it and just everyday culture, how, then look at it politically too, like how it's kind of a threat politically, essentially, or at least for this episode. I don't know how I'll do it for future episodes. I think I'll just kind of branch off into whatever I'm kind of feeling. But right now, I'm kind of feeling what I pulled up right here, so let's kind of talk into it. Actually, I don't know if I'm going to continue the sepia, because I just realized it might not look that good when... Well, let's see. It's just my bud read. But it doesn't look that good when looking at my screen. Or at least you guys looking at the screen, so I don't think I'm going to do that. And I need to get these CDs moved a little bit, I think. I have an idea. I just want to make sure y'all have the most optimal view here. Or at least enough of an optimal view. There we go. That's good enough. That's good enough. I think that's good. Anyway, I'm going to get this Discord out of the way so it doesn't distract me. Meow. Okay. So, get out of here, you old fucking fart. I want Bill Nye. All right. So this actually is from this whole big debate, which actually I think I'll check out at some point in the future. Is this one? It was with Ken Ham, and oh God, I don't want to. I don't even want. Oh. I mean, look at that smug face. Look at this smug face, man. Look at that smug face of Ken Ham, dude. Oh. He has a brain in there. There is a brain somewhere lodged in this skull. I don't know how, but there is. Somehow. Luckily, there was nothing on that tray when it fell. I'm going to go back there. Anyway. We're not watching the whole debate, though. We're just watching this little segment. So, this was back in 2014, it looks like. And, it's a whole 2.5-hour debate. Fun. So, yep, that will be there.
Mr. Ham and his followers have this remarkable view of...
I don't know. Here, let me get some context really quick first. So, I'm sure you know about Noah's Ark. Oh, Noah and his... You have to admit, they're inbred. But I'll get to that in a second. But, Noah's inbred family builds a fucking, a fucking boat. Gets 2 pairs of every animal genus, onto a boat and floats around for a year. Yeah, totally. And the reason why I said inbred is because if, every man is dead besides Noah's family, then how are humans going to repopulate? Noah's family is going to have to do a lot of little incestuous fucking now, aren't they? There better be an NSFW channel on the server. In time. I didn't get it set up yet, but in time. But, yeah. There's just so many flaws with Noah's Ark and just the whole fucking, this whole story. It's just anyone can just stare at the story and realize it's fake. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it. What evidence, what actual empirical, past physical, empirical evidence do we have that the Earth literally became a ball of water? Literally. It flooded entirely. I don't see nothing like that. So, I mean, the only evidence I can think of is maybe the Ice Age, the end of it, where it all melted away and shit. And all the water receded from the massive glaciers of ice. But that's not a world flood, and that didn't kill off a lot of things, really. If we ever meet up, so we should have one at Ken Ham's Ark Museum in Kentucky and smoke up there. Oh, dude. Most definitely. And we're going to have t-shirts that, subtly, subtle about our atheisms. You know what I'm saying?
a worldwide flood. that somehow influenced everything that we observe in nature. A 500-foot wooden boat, 8 zookeepers for 14,000 individual animals, every land plant in the world underwater for a full year. I ask us all, is that really reasonable? You'll hear a lot about the Grand Canyon, I imagine, also, which is a remarkable place, and it has fossils. And the fossils in the Grand Canyon are found in layers.
Yeah.
There is not a single place in the Grand Canyon where the fossils of one type of animal cross over into the fossils of another. In other words, when there was a big flood on the earth, you would expect drowning animals to swim up to a higher level. Not any one of them did. Not a single one. If you could find evidence of that, my friends, you could change the world. One of the extraordinary claims associated with Mr. Ham's worldview is that this giant boat, very large wooden ship, went aground safely on a mountain in the Middle East, what we now call the Middle East. And so places like Australia are populated then by animals who somehow managed to get from the Middle East all the way to Australia in the last 4,000 years. Now that to me is an extraordinary claim. We would expect then, somewhat that, my friends,
Oops.
you could change the world. A giant boat.
Oops. What was that? I can't get the fact that Cam Ham was taken seriously in this debate. I don't. I would have just honestly made fun of him. This would be one of the very few debates I would say, go ahead and just do utter mockery. But, what was I about to say? So he's making a claim like, you know, if a ship with every animal was like on, put ashore in, the Middle East, how can kangaroos and shit go to Australia? Because that's what we're kind of seeing here. See, there's a better view of it. So here, I'll let it continue playing again.
Very large wooden ship went aground safely on a mountain in the Middle East, what we now call the Middle East. And so places like Australia are populated then by animals who somehow managed to get from the Middle East all the way to Australia in the last 4,000 years.
It's a pretty major feat. It's a big migration.
We would expect then.
Like, that would be some extraordinary migration patterns, like on a scale of, like, fucking birds and shit. And it wouldn't even be migration as in, like, we're going back and forth over like, our generations. This is just straight up moving to one place to another. Like, it's very rare for animals to just do that consistently all the time, like, wherever they, you know, and just are nomadic and never stop adapting because thus they just can't, you know, find a spot to live. That's just not the case. Animals, like, adapt into the environments they live in so they can, another seed, shit. So they can live there. And, you know, and we also have seasons. So some animals live in certain regions during one season and live somewhere else during another season. Because guess what that is, Ken Ham? That is, my friend, evolution, where animals can adapt over time to live in their surroundings. I know, it's a shocker. It's a big phenomena that naturally occurs in science and life. So, I hate to burst that Noah's bubble there, but yeah. There's no special Noah daddy. There's no Noah daddy that's protecting all of your animals and keeping them alive that your precious old gourd made.
Somewhere between the Middle East and Australia, we would expect to find evidence of kangaroos. We would expect to...
And by the way, we don't.
...to find some fossils, some bones. In the last 4,000 years, somebody would have been hopping along there and died along the way, and we'd find them. And furthermore, there's a claim that there was a land bridge that allowed these animals to get from Asia all the way to the continent of Australia, and that land bridge has disappeared. Has disappeared in the last 4,000 years. No navigator, no diver, no U.S. Navy submarine. No one's ever detected any evidence of this, let alone any fossils of kangaroos. So your expectation is not met. It doesn't seem to hold up. Another remarkable thing I'd like everybody to consider.
Because it never fucking happened. Like, like, my big, like, utmost question, especially about the Noah's Ark story, because honestly, this is one of my most favorite. And I do that in quotes, because it's not. It's not. But, it's like, how is Noah's Ark, like, taken so seriously when it's just the most obvious piece of fantasy you have ever, like, bestowed your eyes on? At least for me, like, I think it's genuinely, like, one of the worst stories in the Bible, because it is, like, one of, I don't think it's the biggest lie that is told in the Bible, but I think it's one of the most severely, like, believed lies that is pretty, I won't say severe, but it's probably one of the more, I don't even know, it's just a really awful fucking fictional lie that's just terrible. Like, there's nothing to back it up. There's legitimately no factual evidence to back up Noah's Ark, and yet people believe it, and people believe that's a thing, and they think there is evidence that that was the thing. How? What kind of brainwashing going on in here, fools? Oh, not much. Well, it depends on the brainwashing. I'm trying not to get... Ever heard of Jesus the Pregnant Woman Killer? What the fuck? Jesus the Pregnant Woman Killer, who will genocide mankind. Oh, damn. Alright. He will genocide mankind. I believe it. I don't believe it. But, yeah, we're just, kind of Leviticus 26:29. Eat your children. Who's this Jesse Lopez guy? I don't know, Karl Rove. I don't know. I have no ill will, though, so, he's free to say what he's wishing here. I don't know what to say there. I highly doubt these are real Bible quotes. Isaiah 13:16, loot a man's home, kills children, rapes his wife. Unless you're just summarizing them. I'm leader of the former Jehovah's Witnesses movement. We're just cutting niggers' dicks and wondering where it's at. The former leader of the Jehovah's Witnesses movement. I used to know a Jehovah's Witness, and he did not celebrate his birthday, and we always made the joke when he finally did 1 year in high school, that he was 1 year old. He was just a baby. But I don't think we let off on that for a while. But, damn.
In this worldview is that somehow Noah and his family were able to build a wooden ship that would house...
And by the way, the longest wooden ship... Here. Hold up. I'll show you here before I take my hit. So, this right here is like the longest wooden ship right here. It's called the Wyoming. And supposedly, Noah's Ark was about, I don't know, maybe 1.25 times longer than it. So, if the Wyoming, the longest wooden ship on record, factually, for sure right now, was... twisted apart in heavy seas due to the wood twisting apart because there's so much wood being used and stretched out for such a vast amount of distance. A couple 100 feet, 300 feet at least, 350 some feet. Then it's going to start twisting like this, up and down, side to side, and eventually it's just going to rip apart and shred because of the heavy seas and due to the conditions. I'm pretty sure Noah's Ark would fare worse in that scenario if it hit heavy seas. So even if it conceptually even existed, it wouldn't have survived that long out in seas, especially very far out in sea for a whole year with two of every animal. So, hold on, like, how can you even get, like, two of every animal on Earth into one boat? You're going to get polar bears, lions, like, snow leopards, cheetahs, fucking... deer, grizzly bears, fucking Tasmanian devils. Like, you're gonna get all these fucking animals in one boat One boat. Really? Really? And all the insects too, and all the like, really? Let me guess, you folks spreading the Mandela and flat Earth delusion to Theologian 211. What? What? You trolling, boy? Are y'all relating to the Columbine killers? No, but I live in the same state it happened in. I don't live that far away from the Columbine High School. So, I mean, I don't live, like, close to it at all, but, I mean, with all these mass shootings, it's one of the closer ones I live nearby. I live right next to the Clackamas Mall shooting because I literally live by that mall. So, Mexicans and Hispanics always believe in conspiracy bullshit. Hey, us white people can believe in conspiracy shit too. And always super religious. That I can definitely contest to because I knew a guy, ironically, was named after the Emperor Julius Caesar. And he was racist against white people, and his mother was white, so he was also insecure about his own race, too. And, like, thought white people were the devils and shit, was a misogynist, like, he was pretty fucked. And he was a hardcore Catholic, too. I used to live near the church in Charleston where it should happen. I used to smoke up there. Like, oh, yes. All brainwashed folks need to use your God-given brains. My brain wasn't God-given, it was just given by the fact that I'm a human. I'm a Homo sapien and we have life, and we're able to just by chance just be here and shit. I mean, I don't even know why I got a damn brain. I don't even know why I am the entity that I am, but I am, so I cherish it. Yet he's named after one of the greatest men ever. But I bet you believe in an afterlife. I mean, I don't really have, like, a set core belief, but I have thoughts about it. So, I mean, that's about as much as it goes, is probably thoughts. And if even then, it's like a form of reincarnation where there's no, like, afterlife, and anything in between is like a state of non-existent purgatory. So, essentially, whatever was before life is what I believe in the most, like, a state of non-existence. But, anyway, yeah, like, I mean, essentially we're talking about the same topic here about Christianity as essence. I mean, I honestly don't believe in an afterlife at all. Yeah, like I said, I don't either. I just have thoughts about it. Like, I mean, because I don't deny good for you, you're not completely gone. Yeah, like, I mean, I will still say I'm, like, spiritual in a sense, but it's more about, like, the thoughts of it. Like, exploring the ideas of what it is, what spirituality is. I don't, like, actually, like, have a firm belief in any of it. So, I mean, when it comes to, like, when this is the evidence that they push to support their, claims of, the religions and their beliefs and shit, I'm not going to follow it. I'm super atheist. I think that's exactly what I like before you were born, nothingness, unconsciousness. Yeah. About just like the rest of us if you're being resurrected. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to be like, it would depend what would the resurrection be, in a sense, anyway. But even then, I don't even think that would be a thing anyway after a life. So
14,000 individuals.
It's kind of a really complex issue, to be honest, because it's just like we don't know. We can only just theorize what could happen. But some people like to believe that your theories are true, or at least are literal fact and reality. And when you start going that far, then it's like, whoa, shit, you're a fundamentalist.
1,000 kinds, and there's a boy and a girl for each one of those. So it's about 14,008 people. And these people were unskilled. As far as anybody knows, they were never built a wooden ship before. Furthermore, they had to get all these animals on there, and they had to feed them. And I understand that Mr. Ham has some explanations for that, which I frankly find extraordinary, but this is the premise of the bit. And we can then run a test, a scientific test. People in the early 1900s built an extraordinarily large wooden ship, the Wyoming. It was a 6-masted schooner, the largest one ever built.
We haven't seen Joe or Brandon for a while. I know, right? Where have they gone?
It had a motor on it for winching cables and stuff. But this boat had a great difficulty. It was not as big as the Titanic, but it was a very long ship. It would twist in the sea. It would twist this way, and this way. And in all that twisting, it leaked. It leaked like crazy. The crew could not keep the ship dry. And indeed, it eventually foundered and sank, loss of all 14 hands. So there were 14 crewmen aboard a ship built by very, very skilled shipwrights in New England. These guys were the best in the world at wooden shipbuilding. And they couldn't build a boat as big as the Ark is.
And yet, we're supposed to believe that Noah's Ark was perfectly intact and in good condition when it was sailed for a whole year on a totally flooded Earth. Okay. Fool goes out to the way to erase God. I mean, huh? Fools go out of their way to erase God. So, fools go out of their way to erase God, but I'm not trying to, in essence, erase him, because I don't think he existed in the first place. So, how could I erase something that didn't exist? And, yeah, like, how could I erase something if it didn't, if he was not to worry why you talk about it? Because, I mean, because people have that belief, and because I have a counter belief to it, why not make videos on it? I'm a maltheist. I've heard theism, but not maltheism. Well, guess we'll have to learn a little something. Might as well actually pull up a little side thing and learn what maltheism is here. Okay, then this is from the Rational Wiki. Maltheism, from mal meaning bad or illness, and theism from, well, theism. It's the idea that God is just out to get us, and that he or she, or it, is malicious. Like a kid who keeps removing the pool ladders in The Sims. A maltheist, therefore, is someone who believes that a god or gods exist, and they are evil, malicious, and incompetent, or otherwise causes suffering of humanity. In essence, maltheism is the idea that God exists, but is accidentally toying with us. So you think, misotheist, so you think that there is a God, but he's basically like a incompetent Loki, essentially, a mischievous guy who fucks with humans. Because I think humans do that enough on themselves. I mean, that seems like it's an S. His name is Jehovah. Well, I mean, okay. I mean, I just, like, I mean, that just seems more of a cop-out for a lot of humanity's fuck-ups, essentially. Like, for example, let's just say what Trump's doing, like with all of his tweeting and all of his, fucking just impulsive, narcissistic bullshit that he says all the time, and all the insults and all the fucking narcissism that he pulls, and all the egotism that he, pulls out, and also being a puppet of the establishment and everything like that. I mean, in essence, he's being malicious, using it for that office for his own benefit, but it's not because there's like a god or something like that using him as like a puppet to like fuck with humanity. It's because that he's just doing it for his own gain and benefits. Hands dominating man to his injury. What? Shove is half good. I mean, I don't know. Like, even if there was a god, I don't know if he would be even good or bad. I mean, because that would be a subjective view of that. Because what would be good then? And then what would be bad, according to what this entity is? Like, is he... I mean, are you, like, is he... If he's good, is he like... Is his followers defend his baby killing ways. Baby killing ways? What, like abortion? Because that's not baby killing. Babies are the thing after they're born. Like babies are the after thing, and then but like before the birth, it's not a baby yet. So if are you talking about that? Because it's not baby killing at all. No, Noah's Ark flood, the end of the world. So essentially just like the Revelations and end times. But a lot of, honestly, this is something I probably should pull really quick. In fact, I will. Oops, where was that? New window. A new window. Come here, bitch. Let's go back to YouTube. Because this is actually something that I just dawned on my head. I'll just pull this up. Okay, here we go. Let me just find a more specific one. Its feed is killing. Search J.W. Struggle and Jesse, or son of T. Gunder, or picture and comments. Megan, sexual love. Okay. Alright, so I'll look for that too, might as well. Look for two things. Research on the go. So what am I looking at here? Search. Oh well. One of the first things that came up for that. Well, this is all like years ago. Holy shit. Like 4 years ago? Dang. Huh. Jesus hates the gays. I mean, that supposedly, but if Jesus, I was still a Jesus lover 4 years ago. So you're actually in this interview here. Was this the one? Yeah, looks like it. No weed or video games. No weed or video games. Well, of course I do both. You just saw me earlier smoke some, so. Huh. Okay, so it looks like this is a channel dedicated more towards people trying to get out of Jehovah's Witnessism, or whatever the hell it's called. WT? Are or were, okay. Within the WT? WT, okay, wow. Alright, whatever then. But, huh. Alrighty. Okay, let me pull this out of the way here. Oh, something I said. But, alright. Why do you keep asking me? Yes, Carl, call me a bitch, made me nigga like Jesus in the comments. I do. Why do you keep asking me to call you that? Are you daring me or something? What? I like when someone comments on my debates. Well, I mean, because debates are fun. I mean, well, I've always enjoyed them. But, going to continue with my little segmentation here. Continue on with the whole... Oh, well, even Iran Ra. Actually, I think at some point I might do a whole, like, thing on Iran Ra and, like, a lot of his videos on rebuting religion. He a bitch who ran from my challenge. Dylan ran also. Did they? I mean, I mean, I'm just discovering for the first time. So for all I know, I mean, you could be BSing all of this too. So I mean for all I know, but I mean I find Dillahunty to be pretty respectful, but I mean I don't think he would just run away from a debate unless he had a good reason to, because it seems like he opens up his time to a lot of people to debates and discussions. I mean, I think there's like a bunch. Yeah, there's even one right here. I know that was recently, and there's another one. Yeah, but anyway.
Animals alive today, plus more than 10,000 species of reptiles, not including birds, of which there are enough.
Oops, let me just start that.
Estimates are that there are roughly 5,000 species of mammals alive today.
You can't just say I like his fucking beard or his goatee and his hair. Like, that is some intense shit. That is just amazing. Either you're a feminist or you're a sexist bigot, but not a dichotomy. Raw. Does not debate so-called trolls. Dillahunty told me to call the show. Huh. Well, I know he has a lot of people call it show. So I don't know. I don't know.
Plus more than 10,000 species of reptiles, not including birds, of which there are another 10,000 species or so. Then there are another 7,600 amphibians, amounting to roughly 33,000, mostly terrestrial tetrapods altogether. That doesn't account for fish or insects, with a vast majority of life on Earth, only the relative few that the biblical authors would recognize as having the breath of life. You see,
in 33,000 different species, couldn't see there, but that's a lot. That's a lot. A lot of life that's out there. It's also a lot less than like the 1,400 supposed inhabitants that were on the Ark in the first place. A little mathematical error, if I say so myself.
Back then, people didn't know that air was particulate matter. They thought air was a tangible spiritual life force, and that the act of breathing caused one to be infused with the spirit, which brings one to life. Because they figured out that a lot of animals will die if they can't breathe. So the fable says that all the animals that had the breath of life would come to Noah to be saved from the flood. Thus, the first thought you might have is that Noah loaded 66,000 individual animals onto a box that couldn't possibly hold them all. Of course, the people who wrote this story weren't thinking globally. They had no idea that Australia or the Americas even existed, so they didn't know about penguins, polar bears, bison, wallabies, or three-toed sloths, which would never have been able to make the trip to Mesopotamia.
That is true, too. I mean, considering that these people were only from Mesopotamia and would have not had any recollection of what penguins were, or what like polar bears, or even like bison or moose or whatever North American animals would have been around. I mean, for them to also be somehow magically make the trek without any fossil records too, by the way, of these animals going to this ark to like get saved and shit, just nothing it adds up at all. I personally don't believe it was a global flood. I mean, because there's no actual like evidence to say there would be. I mean, the closest thing I can think of would be the end of the Ice Age, where the great glaciers receded. That's the only thing I can think of, and even then, that's not a global flood, and it didn't flood the Earth entirely at all. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of, and it's not a global flood not even a biblical flood to an extent. It would just be a flood that happened. And I know one rebuttal will be like, oh, well, cultures all over the world have like stories of a flood. Well, maybe it's because maybe stories have been passed down through generations of humans' evolution, and we have been around since the ice ages as well. So there would have been stories of great floodings of water, suddenly sprouting from nowhere. I'm sure those stories would have been a thing. But it wouldn't have been like, oh no, the whole world is flooding and we have nowhere to go. I mean, sure, to them, because to them the world is so small, they probably would have thought that. But on a global scale, it's not happening at all, really. I mean, it's just Earth going through its climate cycles like it normally has and always will be going through for the course of its life. Just happens. It's just the cycle of the solar system at work. It's really just what it is. I mean, you don't understand everyone lived on the same continent. Well, I mean, there was, not necessarily. I mean, there's multiple, Asia is its own continent, Europe is its own continent, Africa is its own continent. I mean, North and South America are their own continents, Australia is their own one as well. So, I mean, and there's people that live there, for sure. I mean, we started out from Africa, then we migrated out towards the Middle East, and from there, humans went out towards Europe, and then migrated eastward, which is how they went to North America, too. And, I mean, we started from one continent. After the flood, fools went their own way, Tower of Babylon and stuff. Well, I mean, they weren't fools. They're just migrating for whatever reason, like for more food resources, for better shelter, for just a better ecosystem to live off of. I mean, I wouldn't say they're necessarily fools unless they left into the middle of the desert and there was literally nothing out there. Then they would be stupid and foolish. I mean, it's just what people always do. It's just is that we migrate and communicate. God divided them but not allowed them to communicate. It's just people migrating. I mean, we didn't allow ourselves to communicate with each other. I mean, now now we are communicated like now more than ever. So I mean, surely not the case anymore. But at the time, I mean, you don't have any good forms of communication besides just face to face at that time. I mean, I don't even think early humans had a concept of what writing was at all yet. So you couldn't send letters or messages or even like little tombstone tablets or whatever. So, there's very lack of forms of communication. Ever heard of the coward godless engineer? What? No. Coward godless engineer? What? I mean, no. But let me I'll pull this here for later. But I'll keep having this conversation. Ever heard of the coward godless Iowan? Guess I'm gonna have to look something up here. Well, there's a godless engineer. Made a video talking shit at me, but declined to debate me.
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing?
Oh shit. Okay, so he's a YouTuber. Alrighty then. Okay. Never uploaded your debate? Well, that's why both sides should always record it. Because I've noticed that there's people that would have debates, but they'll never upload it on their channel, but their opponent would, or the person, or someone else would, but not like one of the people debating. It's always a good idea to do that. Because sometimes people just won't. But I mean, I haven't heard of this person particularly before, so random channels to check out though. So. People of color are so horribly oppressed. Which ones? Which ones? All of them? Or just one? Or just two? Or is it just all of them? Iowan challenged, alright. $5 months ago, okay. Damn. This Ignar guy does his research. Well, I'm in front of it, so I mean, I'm able to do it. It's just right there for me.
Basically, he was going to come over here with the elders and disfellowship and something. they can't do anything else. I wish they would. I wish they had the power to, kill me or something. Like they used to do with the Israelites.
Good morning to all my heathen friends. So,
Seems like the same dude, just a smaller channel or something like that. Alright. They're friends. I've noticed. It looks like it. Yeah, it looks like they're both related. Okay, yeah, interesting. I think I'll pull that later. But I thought I'd go to the whole big shebang that I pulled. This is a little 20-minute thing. I'm actually gonna speed up a little bit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna essentially just kind of stop and then just offer my 2 cents whenever I feel like saying something. But we'll get to we'll get to see what they're gonna say.
Hello, my name is Ignarism. I am a scientist and an atheist, and my question is: since the Bible has been scientifically disproven as far as all the claims, theory of evolution, theory of evolution.
Well, this is pretty quiet.
Those are out of view. We know this didn't happen because of what I'm trying to get science about. My question is: how do we have, according to the Bible, how do we have free will if God is this omniscient being that knows everything about us, everything we will do, and He pretty much knows our outcome before we're even created? So He creates us, knowing everything we'll do. Since we can't surprise Him by our actions, we have no free will. Our choices have been predetermined. And that the act of judgment is completely immoral because He knows what we're going to do. Nothing can surprise Him. That's the question.
So, essentially, the question is, if God is so omniscient, or can't say the fucking word, omniscient, whatever, omnipresent, essentially, and we also supposedly have free will, then how can He be omniscient or omnipotent? There we go. And know our every move at all times, essentially, before we even make them, and even after we make them, and everything else. If we have free will, even though He knows what we're going to do, no matter what. So now we got about 20 minutes of most likely bullshit.
Thank you for the question. And before you go into an auditorium and give a sheet of paper and ask us to write 20 possible questions that will come, we've never heard a new one in all of these years that go by. They're pretty much the same questions.
By the way, the quality
it's
is
that
true.
By
Shit.
As an atheist, all of this has been disproved, and so you live with scientific materialism as your worldview. I studied under John Polkinghorne at Cambridge University. You probably know the name. One of the world's leading quantum physicists. He came to exactly the opposite conclusion you did, while being the dean at Queen's College, Cambridge, as a quantum physicist, taking the same data you did. So obviously, for a man of his intellectual ability to come to a different conclusion, one would either have to say he's totally stupid to come to that conclusion, or else his empirical basis. Please don't keep shaking your head. Let me finish, so that you can come and talk afterwards. So you'll ask to concentrate what you're saying here. I want to read for you what David Berlinski says about the scientific naturalistic worldview. Do you know who he is? One of the world's leading physicists, who is an agnostic, borders on atheism, but took issue with Richard Dawkins's book, The God Delusion, and wrote a book called The Devil's Delusion. Here's what he said.
The Devil's Delusion, huh?
Has anyone ever provided proof for God's inexistence? Not even close. Has quantum cosmology explained the emergence of the universe, or why it is here? Not even close. Have the sciences explained why our universe seems to be fine-tuned to allow for the existence of life? Not even close. This is Berlinski talking. Are physicists and biologists willing to believe in anything as long as it is not religious thought? Close enough. Has rationalism and moral thought provided us with an understanding of what is good, what is right, and what is moral? Not close enough. Has secularism in the terrible 20th century been a force for good? Not even close to being close. Is there a narrow and oppressive orthodoxy of thought and opinion within the sciences? Close enough. Does anything the sciences or in their philosophy justify the claim that religious belief is irrational? Not even in the ballpark. Is scientific atheism a frivolous exercise in intellectual contempt? Dead on. Now, I didn't say that. All right? I'm not quoting myself.
Well, since he's quoting, I'm not going to respond to the quote. I don't give a fuck about the quote.
Please give me your name, sir. Ethan? Ethan, what you're wrestling with is not uncommon. Many people from a scientific and materialistic worldview will say what you've said and come to that conclusion. The problem is what you mispositioned was your concern between determinism and free will. Your application could have gone in many different directions, but you came to that one for some reason, which I was unfortunate, I think. At Cambridge, I listened to a talk at the Lady Mitchell Hall in 1990 by Stephen Hawking. As you know, he can't speak, he uses a speech synthesizer. His whole talk was on determinism and freedom. And you know what he concluded? That the tragedy with scientific materialism, if we take its assumptions, is that we are not free, we are totally determined. That was the world's leading physicist at that time saying, the very thing you're asking of the Christian faith, he pinned on your backs as scientific materialists. You can go right online and trace it. Lady Mitchell Hall, 1990, somewhere around March, April, May, that time I was in attendance. And he said, the only escape I have is since I don't know what has been determined, I may as well not be. The whole auditorium moaned and groaned with an escape hatch that he gave for himself after telling us that we were completely determined.
So let me go back to that for a second here.
Not be. At that time I was in attendance. And he said, the only escape I have is since I don't know what has been determined, I may as well not be.
So, because the idea of free will is essentially like things aren't determined for you, you can kind of determine for yourself, but if things aren't determined for you, it might as well not be. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, I think being able to kind of determine what you want to do for yourself with your own free will. I mean, let me just get this out of the way first. Like, what's like my views on free will? Like, I don't know if free will in itself is a thing, but I do believe there's at least an illusion to it. So there's at least a sense of free will. I don't know if it's just like actually there, but there's at least a sense of it because we have our own thoughts that we, think of. We have our own opinions that we all have. We all have subjective views and everything like that. So there is, like a form of free will there. But, is everything also deterministic? Of course, yeah. There are certain things that are deterministic, like, for example, like how you grew up in. Like, that's just your environment naturally. I mean, you haven't even determined that. So, but that can determine what you do in life, because you could, at that point, grow up to be, I don't have the free will to free you from the spell of error Jehovah has you in. But what errors? Like, the only errors would be my own. You should check out Sam Harris' argument on free will. I think he obliterates it. Yeah, might as well check it out too. But let's continue on with this here. But but to say that because we aren't determined, for our life, or have like a determined, destiny essentially, or whatever, or like we're destined for a thing. But if we're not, then we might as well not be. Then yeah, I just don't agree with that. Like, we're obviously deterministic, and but also at the same time we have a feeling of free will. So there's a blend of it. Your thoughts and emotions are determined by chemical reactions in the brain. These chemical reactions abide by the laws of physics. There's just not a room for it. Yeah, that's what that's why I think there's at least an illusion to free will, because even then it's determined by just what the fuck your body's doing, too. So because of the chemical reactions in your brain and in your body. So that's why I think there's at least an illusion to it, because you don't know if you even have it, because of everything that's just being determined just based on your own body and the environment around you.
The whole auditorium moaned and groaned with an escape hatch that he gave for himself after telling us that we were completely determined. That's Berlinski's issue. That is actually even what people like Dawkins will concede, or Pinker. You read Steven Pinker and the others. So totally determined. So the question is, were you free to ask this question? Yeah.
I don't believe any of us actually have free will because we are strictly material.
So you're actually, as a machine automaton, asking me this question?
We are all made up of our past experiences.
Okay, but you're not free then. You're not free. You're not making a truth statement.
My truth statement. I mean, what I'm saying is our memories and our states.
No, hear me carefully.
Yeah.
If you're totally determined,
Yes.
you're pre-wired to think the way you do.
Nature versus nurture. Yes.
Sorry?
Nature versus nurture.
Nature versus nurture.
Yes.
Regardless, the nurture may provide a different environment, but the nature is
Take a
you're
bong rip.
hardwired to come out with a certain conclusion.
I need
Out of
to,
flux,
because this is
nothing
getting...
but flux. You know, what you put into the computer, the ultimately is going to come out. But you have to ask yourself, are you making a truth claim? If you are making a truth claim, you're rising above the bondage of total subjectivity. And the moment you claim a truth claim, you're violating determinism.
How? How is accepting a truth of like a reality is not is what do you say again? What determinism?
Okay. And the moment you claim a truth claim, you're violating determinism.
Violating it. No, you're not. Because I mean, just because you have a claim to truth doesn't mean that you're violating determinism. If anything, that is enforcing it. Because that to you, that is a determined truth to you. And you're determined that that is the truth and you want to have that truth be said. So by that definition, you're determined to have a truth be spread. Whether because you've heard it spread around or that you discovered it, how it came to you. But it's because that you had that past experience of discovering a truth or a memory of learning that you want to spread that around, essentially. Jordan Peterson argues this shit. I don't even know who the fuck this guy is, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this is like essentially what Jordan Peterson argues as well. And it's just like, what? He does it a lot more word salad-y, but this guy's a little bit more concise with how he's saying it. But this is essentially the same shit that Jordan Peterson does argue, yeah. I have to agree. Look at him, he's just like, that's right. I just wrecked you. Wrecked. Okay.
And so I just leave you with that, and let's meet afterwards. Hey, Ethan, we want to chat with you. You know, you're the kind of guy we come here for. So afterwards, you come here and we'll chat with you. Come here, give me a shake hand. Bless his well. Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
Bless his well.
You know, I live in a condominium where there's so much noise that sometimes goes on, and I phoned the property manager and said, you know, when I write, the sound of anything distracts me, and so she said, play some music. I said, what? You know, so that's why I'm sorry if I checked you on the shaking of the head. If I get distracted, I can't stay on track, you know, so my apologies on that.
There are people that have...
Whoa. I didn't expect that to happen. But sweet Jesus. We're turning that down.
talked to or heard that they'll say science
what the fuck?
always been closing the gap between what we know and what we don't.
did okay.
And
all right, well,
before science became,
I guess this is a compilation.
So
that works.
It's
fine by me.
Advanced, people used God to fill those gaps. Well, for instance, very early on when thunder would happen, because they didn't know really what thunder was, they would attribute it to the gods. So people read the Bible the same way. They'll say demon possession. They didn't know what schizophrenia was, or they didn't know what epilepsy was, so they attributed it to demon possession.
Oh, I think that Jesse fellow left.
The knowledge of science will grow to such an extent it'll close all the gaps, and there is no need for God. How do you respond to that?
I don't know.
Okay, thanks everybody for coming. That's great.
I asked Joe, I could also make an opening statement so that you know how these questions are going to be answered. And then I will take the gaps of metaphysics and all other disciplines over against the scientific single vision, which is what that proposition is talking about. There's a funny story I often tell of these two guys who are talking to each other, and one fellow says to him, you know, I'm a little bit thirsty, and so I'd like to make a bet with you. I'd like to ask myself a question, and if I answer it, why don't you buy me a Coke? So the guy says, what did you say? You'll ask yourself a question, and if you answer it, I'll buy you a Coke? He said, that's not a bet. He said, no. Then you ask yourself a question, and if you answer it, I'll buy you one. And we'll keep going this way till one of us asks ourselves a question we can't answer. So I said, this is the strangest bet I've ever heard of. He said, but since you proposed it, go ahead and begin. So the fellow said, my question to me is this: how does a rabbit burrow a hole deep into the ground without throwing mud onto the outside? He said, that's my question to me. How can a rabbit burrow a hole deep into the ground without throwing mud onto the outside? And he said, my answer is, let's start burrowing from the inside. The other guy says, how does it do that? He says, I don't know, that's your question. I was walking through the Newark airports.
Huh. Okay then. Smoke out bowl. You ever smoke out bowl pipes? Those are like pipes that have a bowl with it, right? I haven't I've actually seen those before. So, no, I haven't. But that sounds cool. I'd like to try it out. But I'm not going to lie. That was kind of interesting. A little side thing, whatever he did there. So, like, with the bet and, like, all right, we ask each other questions to answer ourselves, and whoever can't, and we just go back and forth until we can't answer it. We just buy a Coke. Okay. Simple enough. And the first one was like, all right, so how's a rabbit dig a hole in the ground without getting mud on the outside? It buries its berries on the inside. Well, how's it do it? That's your question. So, I'm not going to answer that because that's not relevant at all. But go ahead, you do it.
Some years ago, it was about 6:30. I'd taken a long 14-hour flight. I think it was from Bangkok or somewhere. And as I was walking, went to the gate, I looked at the marquee, and it showed a different flight to mine. I was looking for my flight to Atlanta from New York. And so I tapped the lady on the shoulder and said to her, is this going where it says it's going, or is it supposed to be going to Atlanta? She said, no, it's going to Atlanta. That's just a previous flight. I said, well, good to know that. So I turned around to walk away, and I heard the patter of feet behind me. And then she tapped me on the shoulder. She said, excuse me, are you Ravi Zacharias? I said, I'm afraid so. Yes, I am. She said, that is absolutely amazing. I never thought you would have questions either. The fact of the matter is, we all have questions. I believe there's a difference between a question and a doubt. A question is probing, trying to unpack, trying to get deeper and deeper into a subject. A doubt sort of becomes a stumbling block in your journey to an answer. I look at...
All right, well, I didn't necessarily disagree until he explained what doubt is, because I think differently of what doubt is. To me, doubt is not a road bump in your journey or whatever. Oops. It's questioning whether you want to take this road on this journey or not. If you want to use this metaphor for this journey or something like that. It's like you feel like that taking this road is a bad path, and you'd rather take this road because you have doubts about going down this certain path. I don't think that's a road bump or nothing like that. I think that's just you questioning whether you want to go to that route or not. So, yeah, I agree. I kind of agreed with this guy. It seems like it's the same dude. I agreed with him on that until that last point.
A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grid, and I'll give you this and then start the answer to the first question, because I think this is very critical. 1, Truth is the ultimate goal in all of our questions and our pursuits. Truth is the most valuable thing in the world. It was Winston Churchill who said in warfare, truth is the most valuable thing in the world. It's so valuable that oftentimes it's protected by a bodyguard of lies.
I mean, what's your definition? Hate to be semantic, but what's the definition of truth? Is it like a scientific truth? Is it like a metaphorical truth? Is it like a realistic truth? Like, what type of truth is this? So, I mean, that's my problem. Like, because truth is subjective. Like, some people, for example, some people think Obama's Kenyan, even though that's not true objectively. But yet there are people who think that is the objective truth. So what would be your truth? So is your truth different to, say, someone else's truth? Because, I mean, you probably have a subjective view that's different compared to someone else's.
We have to get to the truth. Number two, how do we...
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, we should get to the truth, but it should be a scientific truth. Like, the truth of what we at least understand on with the basis of science. So, like, understanding more about the cosmos and the universe, understanding more about, the what makes up the Earth and, like, how it works and things like that. Like, trying to understand, like, how things work and, like, how things are. When it comes to, like, what humanity does, that's a little bit more subjective, because people have different views of what humanity has done and, like, how they did it. So, I mean, there are people who sympathize with Hitler, even though most people in the world generally know that Hitler was a piece of shit. So, I mean, truth is, my point overall in this is that truth is subjective here. And it's not, and yours could be different compared to someone else's. And that's why I think at least we should be focusing on scientific truth, because that, at least, we can say is subjective. And if anyone denies it, they're just being an idiot. Honestly, on that one. I mean, there's very few things I can say that are objective, and I think at least the scientific truth is the most objective we can get, because that's at least the most fundamental understanding of how things work. And even that said, that might not even be how things truly work. It's just what we use to understand how things work. I mean, we might find out that there's actually a more different mathematics for everything, and we were wrong this entire time, and now we have to start from scratch again. I mean, that could be a plausibility. I mean, I doubt it is at this point. We probably would have figured that out by now. But, I mean, it could be. But, I mean, you never know. I mean, that's what science is about, is trying to understand and to expand and to understand how things work in this universe, which I think is at least the most objective truth we can get, which is, I think, what we should strive for.
Test the truth. There are two broad theories. One is called the correspondence theory, the other is the coherence theory. When you go into a court of law and a witness is being asked to give answers, the attorney is looking for two components here. Are the answers corresponding to reality? And when all of the answers are put together, is there a coherence to these answers? So it is generally acknowledged that there's correspondence and coherence. And then three, you test the truth by logical consistency, empirical adequacy, and experiential relevance. Is it logically consistent? Is there an empirical way to verify this, or is just an assertion that is not even falsifiable? And ultimately, is there any experiential relevance to this? 1, truth. 2, correspondence, coherence. 3, logical consistency, empirical adequacy, experiential relevance. 4, there are 4 questions you deal with: origin, meaning, morality, and destiny. Now, it's very important what I've just said to you. A worldview deals with these 4 subjects. Where did I come from? What gives life meaning? How do I differentiate between good and evil? And what happens to a human being when he or she dies? Origin, meaning, morality, and destiny. Now,
which I don't know. I've kind of grown to be a little bit more postmodernist over, especially like the last few more months, and I think that kind of shows in this stream topic right now, because everyone has a different view of what the meaning of life is. Everyone has a different view of what their destiny is, especially their own destiny. Everyone has a different view of what good and evil is. Everyone has a different view of morality. That's why I think there's at least moral relativism. I think that's definitely a thing, because I think people definitely have different subjective views of morality. And when it comes to like postmodernism, I mean, I think there's at least like a blend of that, out there. I mean, for sure. And I'm definitely, think I am. What exactly is postmodernism? What does it mean? Here, let me just get you the quick definition, because I could try to explain it, but it'll probably be gibbery. So let me just give you... Oh, here we are. So it's a late 20th century style and concept in the arts, architecture, and criticism that represents a departure from modernism and has its heart in general distrust in grand theories and ideologies such as a problematical relationship with any notion of art. That's it as a noun. And it hasn't really gotten popularity until recently. Of course. So here, let me go back to another definition here. It's a broad movement that has developed in... Yeah. We just read that part. Here we go. The term has also more generally been applied to the historical era, fallen modernity, and tendencies of this era. While encompassing a wide variety of approaches, postmodernism is generally defined by an attitude of skepticism, irony, or rejection towards meta-narratives and ideologies of modernism, often calling into question various assumptions of enlightenment rationality. Consequently, common targets of postmodern critique include universalist notions of objective reality, morality, truth, human nature, reason, language, and social progress. So a lot of it has to do with an objective reality, like a moral truth, like what a truth is, like morality. So like what I've been kind of going into. So a lot of like my criticisms have been kind of coming from a more postmodernist, atheistic type of view. So Jordan Peterson would love me right now, huh? But yeah, I mean that's essentially what the main definition of what postmodernism is. I think there's like some postmodernist / nihilistic test that I want to take at some point. I think there is one. Let me see if there is. Postmodernist test. I guess there is a little something. Okay, well, interesting, but...
To get to this is the biggest challenge. There really are 5 disciplines you have to pull together, especially in a worldview that's claiming all of the answers are there for these questions of origin, meaning, morality, and destiny. God, knowledge, reality, man, morality. God deals with theology. Knowledge deals with epistemology. How do I get to this? Reality deals with metaphysics. Morality deals with ethics. And man deals with anthropology. So you've got theology, you've got metaphysics, you've got epistemology, you've got morality, and you've got anthropology. All of this brought into that. So as I attempt to answer your questions, remember this is what I'm actually trying to accomplish. Present to you the coherence of the Christian worldview, how it is coherent and consistent with all of the claims that it makes. If you counter that, you have to put your worldview to the same test. Can you really put the answers together with the 5 various disciplines, the 4 questions, the 3 tests, the 2 categories, and the ultimate pursuit of truth? I just wanted you to have that in your background. Now I can go home and you can start asking yourself the questions here. The issue of the gaps. Science will one day conquer everything, every agnostic terrain that we walk through. It's not only a pipe dream, it is false. Even the great Stephen Hawking attempted to do that in his latest book when he was talking about how he was going to pursue for a theory of everything and so on. And on page 5 of the book, he makes this comment. He said, philosophy is dead. When he said the philosophy is dead, we, the theologians, didn't have to respond to him. The philosophers responded to him. And the chairman of the philosophy department...
Well, yeah, because he said the philosophy is dead, not theology.
...at Cambridge, where I did some of my philosophical work, he made this comment to Stephen Hawking and to the rest. He said, maybe it's about time that the oracular Professor Hawking recognize that we have kept up with his discipline much more than he has with ours. And it was the book, The Grand Design, which Hawking had written, that philosophy...
I mean, how? I mean, are you sure you're not just misinterpreting his comment of his philosophy is dead? Because, to me, how I see that is philosophy is dead is that it's been essentially exploited and mutilated to the point of it's nothing of this real basis anymore. It's just like anyone can just do it at this point. Like anybody, can do, say this and that and be like this intellectual philosopher and then get a bunch of like, supporting, online or whatever, get a book, get a bunch of money off it. I mean, I think that's what he's trying to point to. It's just like not the actual concept of philosophy, but what it has become usually today. Because, I mean, look at people like Jordan Peterson and shit like that. I mean, people call him a philosopher, really? I mean, hardly. So, I mean, I think that's what he meant. I don't think he literally meant philosophy in itself is dead. Stefan Molyneux calls himself a philosopher. Funny. That's funny.
Is dead. Science was going to come up with a theory of everything. Maybe the oracular Professor Hawking needs to realize we have kept up much more with his discipline than he has kept up with ours. Today at lunch, we're having an interesting conversation with a total skeptic. And my friend Sanj and another friend Jared is here, were in the audience, and they were in the discussion at lunch. And this other gentleman, looked at a kind of a scientific single vision for life too, is going to explain it all, although he had studied philosophy. And he went on to say, he said, I love these two guys. I love Sanj and I love Jared. I said, wait a minute. What scientific theory defines love for you? You have just made a philosophical assertion, not a scientific assertion.
Because love is not scientific. That's an emotional trait, if anything. So what the fuck does that even mean? That's just a word salad question. You're just asking, what do you think love feels like? What does love feel like to you? Like, I mean, how am I even supposed to begin to answer that question? It's like, I don't know. Like, love? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to say? Like, I mean, really? It's not... You can't insert a scientific insertion in that. I mean, the only closest scientific insertion you can make is, like, chemical reactions reacting in your brain, causing you to feel what you define as love. That's the closest scientific explanation I can make. So, I just did, by the way, so... Kind of a failed there, buddy.
Is there any objective point of reference for the definition of love? These are metaphysical propositions. And Michael Polanyi, the great philosopher of science, in his life work called Personal Knowledge, which was a required text in the philosophy of science for years and years and years. You go into any philosophy of science professor's room and you will see Michael Polanyi's book there sitting front and center. And he warned scientists not to make the cardinal blunder of thinking that science is going to explain everything.
I mean, it never made a claim that it can't explain everything. But hold on here. I have to take a temporary hiatus here. So, I'll be right back here. Ugh. Skip it back. Skip it back. I'm back. Yeah. Yeah. Missing potential chats? Oh, nah. Nah. Ugh. Got something to drink. Got a quick snack. Alright. Well, I think I'm done with this particular video right here. I want to delve into how it's kind of, how have you ever walked on your parents while doing all the act? No, because they never have while I've been around. So they're too old to do it. There's no way. My mom's too like physically fucked up due to her health and shit. My dad has a fucked up back. There's no way. Guaranteed. So, obligatory right wing watch. Nutball.
Christians normally are 23, 24, 25% of the vote. They were 28% of this vote. That extra 3% put everything in a different direction. Yeah. And so if you have an extra 5 or 6% show up,
Him and my mom takes really big shits? No. What? When did I say that? Well, whoops.
that extra 3% put everything in a different direction. And so if you have an extra 5 or 6% show up this time, it will not be close.
We have to increase the Senate, and we have to keep the House.
That's right. That's exactly
what has to happen.
And that,
in order for us, for an eye to the future, for biblical values.
there is so much that can be done.
For biblical values, we have to make sure that we get that extra 5%. I mean, isn't it not really that obvious how crazy they really are? Like, and how off they are? To be honest, that guy before, whoever that dude was, I was reading my silence with him, me looking up whatever he wanted me to look up. I was reading a lot of the comments saying how off he is. Did he seem off? Took me about 5 questions to establish he's just a committed troll. Someone is saying that he's a committed troll. It was weird as fuck. Someone saying that he was a troll. He has this schizophrenic thought process. He kind of does. I feel like that's what he actually might be. Oh! I think I found... It's not Jesse, but it's Jehovah's Dragon 2. What? Okay, yeah, it's the same guy. my god. Wanna look at the videos that he wanted me to say that were like him being like, oh, here. Just here. Oops. It's like,
Basically, he was gonna come over here with the
I guess it's this dude. I think that guy right here is our friend.
the elders and disfellowship me or something, because they can't do anything else. I wish they would. I wish they had the power to, kill me or something, like they used to do with the Israelites. They used to.
Good morning, all.
Jesus Christ, this is reminiscent of Brett Kane. Who was that particular individual situation that was just in our chat earlier?
All my heathen friends. So today I just want to. I answered him, and I answered him in the best way I could think. I just said, you're not really giving me any information here. I don't know what you're wanting to debate on. Who are you? And if I were to debate, I wouldn't want it to be on my channel. I would want to have a third party host the debate so that we could have a moderator there to go back and forth. Told him I'd be glad to look at any parameters he was considering and seeing if it was something that I might be interested in, and that he could totally message me anytime. So a few seconds later,
he's a particular individual,
link, which directed me to a chat between two guys about the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I was like, well, I don't even know which one of these people are you. And so he goes, I'm the one that's debating that Jesus, the clone of the baby killer Jehovah. So if you watch this video, and I'll leave it down in the...
What lunacy was he spewing? What lunacy is this? How is this any different to Christianity or Islam or Judaism or like any other religion?
Comments. I don't know if this guy is just out there or if he's seriously disturbed in some way. At one point during the video, he says that he wishes the Jehovah's Witnesses could still take people out into the streets and stone them. He wishes they could kill him like they used to do with the Israelites. How they used to stone the Israelites. I'm not sure what he's talking about there.
That's what's going. He's schizophrenic, I'm pretty sure.
But debate about Jesus, the clone of the baby killer Jehovah. Well, I have no idea.
I'm sorry. Dude. I really hate to be this guy, but did we find a gold mine? I think, I just really hate to be that guy, but I think I'm gonna be that guy right now. Dude, I'm sorry. Look, if he comes back later and checks out the stream later on or something, I doubt he's ever coming back, to be honest with you, but you're a little... I mean, have you considered getting a brain scan? I mean, why not? I mean, it's America. Unfortunately, you might have to pay for that. It's not like Canada where you can just do it. But, I mean, it's probably a good idea. I mean, I think you might have something called schizophrenia. I mean, I'm not generally trying to make you feel bad. I'm just like, I live with somebody who's schizophrenic who has to take medication for it. He talks about the Illuminati all the time, and how like the transgenders are like having a narrative where they're out to like get the cis or something like that, which I think is a little weird. It's like, dude, they're not that diabolical. Just making sure there's no seeds in that. Okay. What's that? He seems like the type of person that Brett would ask TJ to bring on a show to debate the existence of God. Well, thank fuck that doesn't happen anymore. Oh my god. I mean, this isn't specifically Christianity, but, you know, it's just religion. I mean, these little sub-ignarisms on religion are that going to be about religion. Trainees are generally pretty quiet and low-key. Yeah, so the fact that they have an agenda, that they're out to get you or something like that, you like, sure, like they're being more accepted in society, but they're still low key as fuck because that's online. Doing Ignarism, my Judaism, and the Jews. Oh my god, I don't even know where to start on that. I don't even know. Like half of the I don't even know where to start. Training butthole's nice. Ooh, I bet. But yeah, man, it's just like one thing I'm like always been like confused about is like one thing is like how did they come up with such insane conclusions? Like how do these religious folks come up with such insane conclusions, especially about conspiracy theories and things like this? Because if you're religious, you're more likely to believe in conspiracy theories. Like, I don't really believe in many. I think the main one that's truly a conspiracy theory that I believe in is probably the Seth Rich one. That's probably the only one I can think of. But, you know, it's just like, I mean, and the ones that they believe are just like the most ludicrous of them all, too. They're like ones about, you know, fucking like chemtrails and like how fucking like, you know, like keeping Jesus in a vat or some shit or whatever the fuck. Like, I mean, who knows what, you know, what type of shit they got out of it. Seth Rich doesn't sit right with me at all. Exactly. It doesn't sit right with me. Like, here's the, here, hold on. Let me read the other comment. When I went to the restaurant to pick up my takeout earlier, some weird black homeless guy who was panhandling called me a young cougar. Was that some kind of gay flirtation? I think he was just a little off his meds, if you know what I mean. But, like, let me kind of explain Seth Rich, just kind of in summary. He was a Bernie Crat type of progressive DNC worker at the DNC. He was like a correspondent or something like that. And I think it was at like 4 a.m. He was shot in the head in a, quote, botched robbery. Definitely foul play there. Yeah, exactly, man. Like, and considering how in the DNC emails they were talking about having to get rid of a problem that was within the DNC, essentially, aka within the ranks and things like that, methinks that they were probably talking about Seth Rich. So, because the reason why they call it a botched robbery, because supposedly they were trying to steal shit from him, but why would you shoot someone in the head and not take a single thing in a botched robbery? Doesn't sit right. Doesn't sit right. Like, not like his watch wasn't taken, his wallet wasn't taken, his phone wasn't taken, he was just shot and no trace of nothing. Not even, did they even find a bullet or like a bullet casing or anything like that? Did they even find that at all? I don't know if they did. So, essentially, this kid he was a young guy, so basically a kid, was essentially killed, and there's no trace of a victim, or not victim, of a suspect. That's suspicious. Something there. I don't know how deep it goes or where it leads, but there's something. Anyway, I think I'm gonna reserve these for later. I'm gonna save these on my little stream thing because this is a little peculiar. Doctrinated fader. Huh. Yeah, somebody said that he sounds confused and all over the place, so I have to agree. Oh my god, there's so many different comments in here, dude. Oh my god. Dude, this is weird, man. Oh man. What the fuck did he get me into? What rabbit hole did he... What do you think about the NCR Rangers? I like their hats. They remind me of the little... I forgot the nickname for them. Doughboy helmets? Or Doughboy helmets? Oh, they remind me of those. I like those helmets. I've always kind of liked their uniforms. They're kind of cool. Nothing he says makes sense. He's like a G-time Johnny, but not interesting at all. Yeah. I don't know what to say to that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go back on this video here, and listen to why, and then have more evidence as why Christianity should not be in government.
And from a biblical value or traditional value kind of thing, not
which doesn't belong in government, you old farted wit.
Theocracy at all, but we're talking traditional values and morality. If this election, if we're able to increase the Senate some and get the House, this America will change more in the next 2 years than we've seen it change in the last 30 years.
We have a responsibility, we have a mandate, and in that mandate...
Dude, what is his... Dude, are you seeing this guy's, like... What's he got going on there, dude? Lunatics, man. Lunatics. Oh, my God. Praise God. We're going to do a silent coup of America. Christians are going to take over this country. It's funny, you know. They believe fantasies, so thus they live in fantasies. You know, they think they're like this like marginalized group, but at the same time, they think, you know, they're gaining power and they're gaining control, like, the, you know, finally, as well at the same time. But you can't have it both ways. Do you Christians know you can't have things both ways? Did you not know this? I mean, also, talking to Trump, too, you can't have it both ways, considering that you flip-flop, too, by the way. Not excluding Hillary, either. But that's besides the point. But, I mean, you know you can't have it both ways. And, by the way, your book contradicts itself as well, so... I guess you can have it both ways. I guess in Christianity it's okay to be a hypocrite and contradict yourself. Is that, like, as Christians, is it okay to contradict yourself? Because I guess it's okay, because the Bible openly does it. Guess so. How do you think socialism should be implemented? I feel like that's a question for a different topic. Or at least for a different time. Because, for one, I don't know the best way to answer that right now. And two, we're discussing religion, damn it. I dare you try to deflect. Deflect with an non sequitur. That was a little too close to the edge there. Would have been bad.
Going to increase the Senate. We are going to keep the House.
No, we're not.
We're going to have judges.
Okay, that I'll give you because that's appointed by Trump.
Judges who are righteous judges, judges who have biblical principles. We believe that. Father, we...
Like being misogynistic and revoking women's rights by repealing Roe v. Wade. Yeah. Biblical values, such great biblical values, and oh my God, he's praying right now. Jesus Christ, this fucking retard. Fucking retard, yeah. You're not talking to some sky daddy, you dim-witted twit, schizophrenic freak.
Claim it in the name of Jesus for this next election. We receive righteousness in our nation. We decree it, we declare.
Oh, I can't wait for 2018. We're going to go back on George Pearson's Prayer is a Joke. Even as a kid, when I was a Christian, even then as a child, I didn't pray. I thought it was weird. Even then, I thought it was weird. Because I'm talking to somebody who's not there in front of everybody. See, for me, even then, when I was a kid, I had an imaginary friend. I think when you're a child, you always do at some point. And for me, that was more like, hey, no one sees me and my imaginary friend doing all these things together. But to force that on me and be like, hey, make up an imaginary friend right now to talk to pray for us. What? I explained how prayer is bullshit to my dad, and he just brushed it aside and gave some Jordan Peterson, William Lane Craig-esque rebuttal. I had several imaginary friends. Oh, yeah. I don't even remember what their names were. I just knew I did. But, yeah, I mean, the thing, is that what I also learned is that they'll never, ever hear what you have to say if you're criticizing their views on religion. Most of the time. Sometimes you can get them to open up a little bit, but that depends on the person. But for a good majority that have been indoctrinated hard, for example, my mom, it's oh god, hiccups, whoa. It's very difficult to even get, even just like social issue points, like abortion, for example, across to them, because they just have this religious belief that, they're obligated to, believe, and they think everybody should believe it. Everyone's obligated to believe what you believe because, it says it in your holy book, and you think that is the almighty truth and nothing but. It's like, well, guess what? We got the internet. We also have this thing called science. Yeah, we've grown past this thing called religion, you old farts. Move aside. He's not really religious at all. He's liberal, accepts evolution, etc. He's just holds a belief in God and an afterlife. Yeah, a lot of, I think a lot of people do. Because atheists in themselves are still pretty small. But, but, I think a lot of people still do. I have thoughts of an afterlife, but I don't have, a firm belief in one. You know what I mean? So even I am, even I succumb to, at least some form of a spiritual belief. So, it just kind of, kind of depends on the person too, and how they grew up and what belief they grew up in. And then, what they've learned over time as well. And I've learned over time that, people like them, they say some bullshit, and you gotta make sure their pants are on fire, motherfucker. Or this god-awful Taylor suits. I just want to just do this. Just burn it. He's got a heart of fire right now, bitch. Motherfucker's got a heart of fire. Not really. I wish his heart was on fire. Just it combusts with inside. It's like, oh god! How would that work? That actually wouldn't even happen because it's no oxygen. Well, I guess if your lungs, it burns through your lungs and you're start drowning and shit in your own blood. That'd be fucked. Somehow your heart combusts and flames from the inside. Well, I guess I'm not even going to try to explain the details of how this can work. I'm not. I'm too... Mine's a little cray-cray about that, but we'll just play this guy because he's even more crazy, I think.
It, and we believe that the body of Christ is in the midst of an awakening, and this awakening includes what our responsibility is in this nation. We will tend the garden.
There's spontaneous combustion. Oh, I know that is an actual thing. But I wish he would just spontaneously combust, because it's not anyone's moral responsibility, especially religious responsibility, to vote for anyone. I mean, I think, if you want to partake in the system, it should be your responsibility to be, informed and shit like that. But I don't think it should be a mandatory, you vote and shit, because there are people who are generally stupid who I prefer if they didn't have a vote in the matter. I mean, I'm not saying that they aren't allowed it, but prefer if they didn't show up, you know what I mean? But, there's a lot of people that just don't vote, and I'm totally fine with that. Like, people have multiple reasons. Some people are just lazy, don't give a shit. Some people prefer not to. Some people just have other interests. Like, there's multiple reasons as why. But then there's some people who I wish had reasons why they didn't vote, so they didn't because they're kind of a little dumb. Like, because honestly, politics is a genuine, serious issue, and it disgusts and terrifies me when crazy fuckers like this guy, just indoctrinate and, corrupt it instead of actually, making it a serious thing, but they're going to implement their fairy tales, or like some, fantasy that they're trying to implement. No. Get your fairy tales out of politics and out of actual, mature adult things. Sorry, religion isn't adult as much as you fucking weirdos like to make it. You guys dress up in like pope suits and shit like that, and robes and drapes and shit like that. You're fucking weird. The one time I do that is if it's, if I'm trying to look like a monk a little bit, but that's because I'm probably LARPing or some shit. But that is a reason. Praying to a sky daddy isn't. And going to a Catholic church, man, in person, because I've been to one, God, it's fucking creepy, man. Seeing the guy in all the robes and shit, all the kids in dresses and tight little suits, it's fucking creepy, man. It's really creepy. It's kind of disgusting, actually. Like, I look at some of those children, I'm like, how many of those children have been manipulated and also exploited and violated? Like, and I take emphasis on violated. Like, how many of these children were violated by the guy up there going, Oisiti patasiti mas aman. It's like, that is creepy. Like, I feel like I'm about to be sacrificed, like have a human sacrifice, my heart ripped out in a cult. That's how I feel like in a Catholic church. I feel like I'm in a cult. Because, I don't know, religions are cults. And, if one likes to be the most cultish of them all, I think it's either Catholicism or Islam. But I think Catholicism takes the lead. Because they're the ones who are able to subject their values at least more easily onto the populace. Islam likes to go violent. That's not cultist. That's just terroristic and jihadist in nature. That's just what they do. But with Catholics, I think they're a little bit more dangerous, at least when it comes to the social and culture aspect. When it comes to like damage and violence, Islam has that. I mean, that's why I think all these religions are equally dangerous. It's just that their dangers lie in different areas, and they have different strong dangers in that would pose a danger compared to like, for example, like I said, like Islam uses a lot more like warlike philosophies and war and violence, while Catholicism usually does it more subtly and subjects it more discreetly. And Christianity, well, they're kind of the same way. I don't think they're equally dangerous on anymore. I think they are. I just think they are in different ways. Like, I just think, overall they all are equally dangerous. But if you were to like say which one's more violent, Islam, I think you can say that without a doubt. But which one is like more indoctrinating, I would probably say maybe like Christianity. Which one's more like cult-like? Probably like a thought. Like, I mean, you can kind of pick out where a lot of the more dangerous like sects are of these like religions comparative like others. Like you don't really see violent vigilante Christian or Catholic groups trying to wage war against governments and shit. You see Islam doing that. But you also see a lot of indoctrination and a lot of conversion therapy and a lot of like psychological torture too by Christianity as well, and a lot of like subjugation and a lot of indoctrination with Catholicism. Well, indoctrination with all the religions. Islam is just as indoctrinating and culturally influencing as Christianity, if not more. The only reason why I disagree is because if you use violence, you're not going to win people over. There's people you can win over if they are willing to hear your message, but there's people who aren't because you're violent. Because a lot of people generally don't like the use of violence, but if you're going to be violent and also use violence against them if they disagree with you, they're more likely to be violent against you. There's a massive part of the suppression of Muslim cultures. I mean, that's why I think they're all dangerous. I think they are all equally equal. I will definitely say that Islam has the violence factor hands down without a doubt. And I don't know. Like, I still feel like there's a bit of debate, but I just feel like because Islam is just shit on so much that we're forgetting to shit on the other religions, because I think all religions should be shit on. Especially these very major popular ones, as these three major Abrahamic religions are out there. Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Because they're the ones, I think, causing all the problems. I mean, like, one is perpetrating fucking, the other to, start violence, and by various different reasons. Whether it be for natural resources, the prophecy for revelations, and the rapture, whatever the fuck, by driving lands out, in Israel and Palestine. I mean, these are what these fucking people believe in, and it's dangerous. Like, there is a legitimate, like, sect in our government that are controlled by a fundamentalist Christian ideology that wants to support Israel all out, wants to go to war in the Middle East everywhere besides Israel, and wants to, perpetrate this whole revelations, and this whole big, end game. It's like they have like this fetish with this apocalypse that they're all dreaming about. All religions need to be shit on, but I think Islam needs to be shit on the most. It's the only one that acts like a mafia and kill you for saying the wrong thing or drawing the wrong cartoon. It's not all saying Christianity isn't bad. It is horrible. Well, of course. I mean, to me, honestly, religion by definition is pretty awful in its own right. But I would have to say maybe Islam would take the cake overall more, but it's probably would be about, like, it will kind of vary a little bit here. It's not like a fat margin, because I think, but that margin would just be, like, mostly in the specter of, the aspects of violence, because they're most definitely, just keep saying that they're most definitely most violent, because they are. I mean, you can most definitely find peaceful Muslims. I mean, there's Sufi and Ahmadadi, which are both like spiritual sects of Islam and are very peaceful. I mean, there's also moderate American Muslims that aren't very, very oppressive or misogynistic at all. It's beyond crucial to distinguish between concepts of Islam and Muslim. Oh yeah, because Muslim is essentially someone who believes Islam, and Islam is, like, essentially, when you think about it, a multitude of religions, but it essentially has, like, a basic standard what they all believe in. Human beings have rights and deserve respect, ideas, and deserve criticism. Of course they do. I mean, to say that, religion doesn't deserve criticism because, it's the divine word is bullshit. I don't give a fuck what word it is. It's not a human, because they, at least, we could recognize are a thing and have respect and rights. The book that you wrote, though, I don't give a fuck. That's your idea. That's different. So, I'll shit on the idea all I want, but doesn't mean I'm literally shitting on you. I just think that your religious views are dog shit. That's about it. Take this weird Like, he looks like he's, like, trying to, like, really hard to distinguish what the fuck he's even saying, dude. He's like, I pray to Jesus, but I don't know if there is an actual Jesus. Are you hearing me? It's about as much as I'm getting out of that, I don't know. But, my God. My God. Oh. Up next, Right Wing Movie Trailer is hilarious.
At one time, he was in it briefly.
Oh, it's baby Kyle. It's little Kyle from 2014. Oh. Let's watch this little thing that we got.
It's a religious propaganda movie they disguised with Hollywood theatrics.
Film ratings.
There are those who claim that your ministry is intolerant and may even threaten the freedom of others.
Freedom is fragile and costly and must be defended by work and by faith and even by blood.
Your ministry reaches more people than the
It sounded like you just called for jihad. Religious jihad there, buddy. Nice.
news, and I need you to get up there and announce that you fully support this bill.
I cannot water down the gospel to advance anybody's political agenda.
It's not the persecution, it's gonna die, and who's gonna be left standing? You are!
Guess what? We're a secular nation. There's no political agenda with separating you from government officials and shit. Read your comment. Oh, missed one. Yep, I did. Unfortunately, criticism of Islam, the idea, are shut down by attacks on Muslims, the person. Yeah, I mean, that needs to be, I mean, that's the problem with, you know, labels and identity politics, is that we don't actually, do you even truly know what the definition is of what you're even talking about? Because just because I shit on Islam doesn't mean I'm shitting on Muslims. Now, if the Muslims happen to be terrorists and, like, radical fundamentalists, then I'm shitting on them too. But, you know, like, just like I'm shitting on the rest of these other, you know, these Christians too. I'll shit on Muslims too. I shit on Jews too. I shit on just about any other religious freak. Skeptosphere shits on Islam all the time, however, it tolerates no criticism of Christianity at all. See, that's the hypocrisy of the Skeptosphere that I hate. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Christianity sucks just as much. Religion in itself sucks. It, you know, I don't think it provides any good for this world. It'd be better if we would be a lot better without it. Chris Ray Gunn got crucified for saying Christianity is bad. Well, Chris Ray Gunn has got some respect in my book. And fuck the Skeptosphere for, you know, fucking him over for that. And crucifying his ass.
And I just like the power of God. It's not important. Mr. Luther, do you mind if we get a picture of my daughter? Big smile. Excellent.
The girl is dead, John. They're saying that you killed her.
I didn't kill anybody.
They're watching her.
I didn't know where else to go.
You're going to be charged with first-degree murder. I just want to see justice served.
I need your help.
Your husband is a fugitive.
He is coming home.
What
to
the fuck is this, dude?
I have a dream to unite the traditions of faith with one voice.
The arms of God aren't as far away as you might think.
Mr. President, John Luther is entirely your misfortune.
People are looking for someone who will get back up when they're not there.
Get your people out there and do so quietly.
They can't silence the truth.
What?
Sometimes in a war there's collateral damage for the greater good.
What the fuck is happening? I'm confused. Are you getting the plot? Because I'm confused.
Let my enemy pursue me and overtake me. Let him trample my life into the earth.
Persecuted.
It's right to speak his mind in a country founded on that very principle.
Nope. We were not founded on that principle. It's called secularism. Have you fucking heard of it? You dim-witted retard.
You don't really have a country now, do you?
In theaters May 9th. Yeah, by the way, guess what? We're a secular nation, you fucking moron. Do you think that we will ever see a fundamentalist Christian resurgence in this country? No, because they're on a very slight decline. I highly doubt there might be like a slight resurgence, but that'll probably be like their last ditch effort to try to stay relevant in a growing secular nation that should have been secular this entire time. Like, I mean, a lot of the West is already pretty secular now in Europe. Granted, despite a lot of the other attributes going on, I think it's possible. I mean, I'm not ruling it out, but I highly doubt it. Like, I don't think there would ever be like a Christian resurgence, or at least I definitely wouldn't see a violent one. I definitely probably would see a peaceful one, but the internet's quick killing it. Oh yeah, that's what I mean. With the foundations in the internet, especially in like the early 2010, 2012 and shit like that, where atheism was like a big thing that spread out on the internet. I mean, oh yeah. I mean, I keep saying I mean, but I don't think there will be a resurgence, at least not a major one. I think we'll have our moments, but I doubt it will ever get severe or like at like some critical status or some shit like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but. Well, nice. It's already. I think you can get this on Blu-ray and DVD now because. Yeah, just man, I didn't really delve in that much Christian bullshit, but honestly, trying to like debunk and dissect that shit is just man, it's like it really like is a brain twister and shit. So I think it's time for one more bowl, but a little low on my drink, so I think I'm going to have to refresh on my drink really quick before I do. So man, 2 hours, man. 2 hours of trying to dissect all that stuff. Debating the Christians is like debating your head against a wall. Yeah, man. I mean, eventually we'll love to get into these debates in the future. Like, I generally want to. But, at the same time, I dread it because I know what I'm putting myself into. I mean, I kind of have to hold myself back when I'm debating that with folks here at home. But here on the internet, I think I got a little bit more leeway. And then the more liberal Peterson types are more slimy and slippery. Yeah, because they try to, make cop-out excuses with, like, very vague premises on what they think on. And they just keep it very vague. Like, I mean, if you want to see a good example, I don't know if you know of Lord J. Dark's podcast, Pull the Trigger, but he had TJ and Paul on, and they were debating a Jordan Peterson fan. And they were the fan of Jordan Peterson was very vague on what the fuck he was even trying to talk about. It was like, what are you even trying to discuss here? It's like, what? Huh? I beg your pardon? Huh? So, I mean, they would just move on from point to point and not make a concise premise to discuss on. It's just like, is there no foundation of what we're having here for an argument? It's like, huh? I remember, like, at one point he was going, like, I'm really enjoying this conversation, debate we're having. And then TJ's like, what debate are we even having here? And then Paul's like, is J-Dark cool or is he an asshole? I think, he's cool. I kind of like J-Dark. He's cool. So I can vouch that he's pretty cool. I think the show he's got going on, it's, I kind of see that being me here in like a month and a half or 2 months or something like that. Because, he's still trying to get the works, and I'm still doing that myself. So, I kind of sympathize with him. So I think that's why I'm just like, it's kind of a cool guy. He's trying to get some shit going on. I don't really think he's that much of an asshole. Unless I mean, I don't know if there would be anything particularly between you or him. Where's the thumbnail picture from? Oh, that's a picture I found. That's an random little angel I found in Christmas last year. They just started popping around randomly around town, and there was at least 3 or 4 of them, and I took a picture of like 2 of them at least, 2 or 3 of them, but they were just all around town, and I started taking pictures of them. So yeah, I decided to use that as my thumbnail. But I'll be right back to go refresh my drink here, and make sure. And for some reason I don't have all my grinders, so I have to go grab that too from the garage. But it won't take long. I think we should have a little tune. A little tune. Oh well, there's me. Hello, myself. Do some Inception shit right here, right now. I'm gonna mute it. I don't want to get too crazy now. See how I look like on the screen and shit. Oh shit, dude. Look at that Inception. Look at that Inception. God damn. It goes on forever, dude. Let's take a look. It goes on forever. Whoa. All the Ignars, dude. All the Ignars. Whoa, dude. Damn, son. Damn. 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 Okay. Well, I'm done fucking around with that. Anyway, I know exactly what to look for because I feel like this is about all the time I need. Crazy. I know, dude. I love all Ignarception, bro. You can't get enough of all the Ignars, dude. Anyway, I'll be right back. Just gotta refill my drink, grab my grinder so I can grab some bud. And I feel like I only need this amount of time. So it's race on the clock. I have a minute and a half. Can I do it? I think I can. I need to hit the bong again. Well, I need to too. Let's do it. Oh shit. Oops. Boom. I need to unmute that. Oop, a little too loud.
You're ready for ideology, you artistic pieces of shit. Ideology, yo, light your blunts and pack your bowls. Ideology, bro, burn that shit like acetone. Ideology, yo, introducing salty Paul. Ideology, bro, you can lick it salty balls. Better open up the door, bitch, it's gorilla. Got your pussy asses screaming like, open up. If you're new up in this bitch, then you might be lost. You might just get the shit cannon like Kawaii cost. Sorry. So give me the lighter, light the cigarette fire. This is the shit we admire. Get the business down to the wire. You must be tripping, this ain't easy work. We burning Bibles and Qurans like we DJ Kirk. Because all is on a mission, obliterating the tism of this generation of offended bitches and syllogisms, tripping acid, having mystical visions, and staying in the bed, growing older and older while you be shitting. Got your girlie getting wetter, why you so screaming, DP better? I don't really give a shit if you a fantasy, get banned when you mention the manatee, and can it be a little bit of vanity? Got me questioning my sanity, pessimistic philosophy, honestly, y'all want my ideology, bro, light your blunts and pack your bowls, ideology, bro, this is an acetone. Ideology, bro, introducing the bro. Ideology, bro, you can lick it salty balls.
Told you it was right on time. And I love that song. It was perfect. Oh shit, Paul Zingo. Pones fake Sagan. Pones fake Sagan. Ugh. I'm enjoying the setup. I really am. I still need to figure out where I'm gonna put some drawers. But yeah, fuck Kawaii Cost. I actually had an encounter with Kawaii Cost when I entered the Discord. He introduced me. I could probably find it later, but yeah. He was like, "I see you, Ignar." I'm like, "Oh, hello there, Archon." He's like, "I'm Kawaii Cost, you dolt." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I didn't know. Hello, Kawaii Cost." It's like, lol. That's all. That was our only interaction. That was about it. I'm like, "Oh, well, Kawaii Cost introduced me. All right, well, welcome to DFF Discord. How about that?" Get introduced by Kawaii Cost. He's still around, I guess. He's just known as Archon now. Or Arkin, or something like that. Yeah, I can just probably pull it up here. Let me pull up Discord. You know what? I don't even need to pull it up on browser. I downloaded it anyway, so let me get it. Pull up my Discord. See what's going on the DFF Discord. What's going on here? Thick thighs are the best. I agree with you, Simba. I agree, Simba. Thick thighs save lives. I'm just like, I agree, Simba. Thick thighs save lives. Oh shit, there's multiple Simbas. Whoa. How many Whoa, there's a lot of Simbas going on. How many Whoa. Dude, look how many Simbas there are. Dude, how many Simbas are there, dude? The internet is so awesome. I know, dude. Isn't it? Artcon? No, that's not how you spelt it. Here, I could probably find him. I don't know where the fuck he is, though. It's, here. I'll spell it out on here. Here. I think it was spelt like, if it wants to adjust. Whatever. I hope you kind of saw that. Arkan. I think that was what his name was. But it looks like nobody is on the Discord right now. It looks like it is very, very quiet. It is indeed very quiet in here. Nothing is going on. Is there anything even going on in like the general like chat or some shit? Or like the bar, I guess? I'm making sure this is off. I don't want to be like, well, there's shit going on. Oh shit. Disconnect me. I'm gonna disconnect myself, but there's a lot of Simbas going on in there. There's like a whole there's like a whole Simba roleplay, dude. Dude, what's going on in there? There's like a whole Simba thing, dude. Look at this. I'm saying look at this, and you can't even see what I'm looking at. Look at this. Look at all these Simbas going on into Discord. What's going on? We got Aunt Simbimba, Bad Simba, Krimba, Daddy Simba, Simba Q, Simba the LP, Simba the leader of the Pride, Simba the marked jewel. Discord servers aren't active except for weekends. Aww. That's a bummer. It's pretty active tonight, though. Most people have work and school. Well, fuck both of that shit! Huh, well. I don't know why there are like 1,000 Simbas, but alright. There's a legion of Simbas. Blessed be the Simba. How about that? Just blessed be the Simba. I don't know what's going on, but Simba. How about that? Where's my... There it is. Okay. Well, that's what's going on in Discord. Nothing. And mine is literally nothing. Do you support UBI? Universal Basic Income? I mean, yes, but, I mean, I don't know how I would explain what my particular system of Universal Basic Income would be. Because I think with automation, we're going to have at least some form of system like Universal Basic Income or something to help alleviate the negative outcomes of what automation will bring. So, I mean, I don't know how I would go about doing that, but, I mean, there would need to at least be something for the future, at least. But... you know, we haven't watched random little videos on my streams in a while. Since I'm kind of done with my little Ignarism portion, we might as well just bullshit for the last few minutes before we leave. Let's go to my... there we go. Vids to... yeah. Yeah! Oh, it's a few deleted videos. That's bullshit. Oh, I know there was something in here. Man, there's a lot of good things I forgot I was going to check out here. Oh, here's a little something. Here's a little something. Oh, that's a little loud. Here, I'm going to turn this down, actually. So I remember I had that up a little bit. Let's full screen that. See that? Good. I'm a puffer.
No, go. Puffer. Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky.
Squeaky, squeaky. Whoa. Okay, then. Yeah, I would like to, yeah, now I would like to hold a nice little, pufferfish to hold. Because why not? There was something else that I want to check out because it's interesting. Because why not? Oh, I don't know if I've shared this yet. Oh, there is this. I remembered I saw this.
The Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming are now closed to the public as a dangerous fissure.
Here. Let me, this was July 19th, so this was probably about, 2 weeks ago. But, oh damn son, is this crazy.
Has opened. Teton is a portion of the greater Yellowstone National Park where North America's super volcano sits. Manila Chan is following this story, and from what I know of it, this goes beyond any natural disaster movie we've ever seen, potentially.
What is scarier than real life, Holland? It's the height of tourist season, as you know, right now at Yellowstone National Park, so you can imagine a ton of disappointed visitors this week. But there's this 100-foot horizontal crack along
I think disappointed tourists are the least of our worries. Oh no, I can't go to Yellowstone. There's a fat fissure that's blocking my way. I don't know. I think that fissure is telling you something. Is that telling you something? Is Yellowstone bound to explode? I talk about the potential Yellowstone eruption. Yeah, this is all in Yellowstone, dude. Like, whoa. Like, dude. Earth is dying. Yellowstone's about to blow up. Cleanse the humans. Earth is cleansing the humans, bro. I bless the earth and I embrace the cleanse. I embrace the great cleanse that we're bound to get in our future.
The supervolcano located nearby. Now, Park Superintendent David Bela said this. He said, quote, "Human safety is our #1 priority, and with an abundance of caution, we are temporarily closing this area until we can properly assess the situation." Experts say this fissure poses a number of dangers to humans in the area. Fears it may continue to crack, possibly create a rock slide, just to name a few,
or potentially have an eruption in our future.
The national park sits on a very active magma chamber connected to that supervolcano. Now, the volcano, though, has not erupted in over 600,000 years, but they say if it did erupt, would result in a nuclear winter, blocking out sunlight and...
That's a really bad interpretation. Nuclear winter! A few years ago, some guy tried to go hot potting in Thermal Springs, fell through a sheet-thin rock, and got boiled alive in caustic water. Yeah, that's why you don't go near that shit. Because that water is literally above a magma pool. I mean, I've actually been there, though. I've only been there once as a young kid, but I remember going to those places, and it's beautiful. It really is. Though, it's a dangerous beauty that you want to see from afar. Something you don't want to be up close and personal with. When the Rangers came back the next day with proper gear to retrieve the body, they found it had been dissolved. I'm not done yet. Fuck you, YouTube. Fuck you. I'm not done yet. Who said I was done?
Thirds of the United States completely uninhabitable. Now, geologists are...
Damn. Let's just splatter a gif of just fire just across America and let Portland be safe. I don't know if you're in this little smidge, but you're just literally engulfed in fire, dude. Oh. I forgot they did that. I thought they would have like a more like accurate thing, but they're like, you know what? No. Who cares about accuracy? We know it's just this. So they just went
across the globe
Damn.
are carefully monitoring this, as well as other volcanoes that have been erupting, with the recent eruptions in Hawaii, sending hundreds fleeing for safety there. Many Americans wonder if or when the next Mount St. Helens style eruption may occur. A little bit of history for you.
I'm honestly just waiting for when the big one is going to hit, dude. Like, when it comes to natural disasters, I honestly think Yellowstone, I do think there's a potential of its eruption. I do really think so. I don't know when. I really don't. But I think it could be. I think that there's a chance. I mean, to be honest, there's a little bit of evidence supporting it might happen. I mean, I'm showing you something right now. Fissures cracking near Yellowstone. That's unsettling. Also happening around the time there's massive eruptions of volcanoes going on. Unsettling. Not liking that. Seems like the Earth is getting a little active again. So, yeah, there's definitely something. I feel like the Earth is rumbling something right now. I don't know what, but I feel like it's going to come for Yellowstone, and it's not going to be pretty, and it's going to fuck a lot of things up, which is why I, really do urge so much about, like, this sense of unity, because we're going to need to work together to survive on the planet, because I feel like this planet's going to try to fuck us a little bit. I'm not trying to say that because the Earth is doing that in itself, but man, needs to really consider its state of existence on this planet. And I honestly think a lot of humans are stupid, but I mean, I still strive for the species to continue on going forward, and I still want to do that. I just see that just with how politics are, with how international relations are, and just how shit's fucked, and how we're not doing anything, to try to stop climate change, and, to try to adapt, to prepare for shit, maybe something worse happening with this. There's a lot of things that we need to consider, but we're just not doing anything about. Like, is Wyoming even passing legislation to start prepping for shit like this, or that, or Yellowstone type of catastrophe? Granted, I think Wyoming will be gone, but, at least they can do something to, have, like, policies to prep for emergency evacuation of Wyoming. You're going to need that. Do they even have that? And is that even ready for whenever you need to, like, or have there been drills, like, or anything like that? No, I doubt it. Bring on the nukes, let it all in. That's how politics are. I had to like read that for a sec, but I was like, yep, that's how politics are, especially politics. Faggot.
Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980 in Washington State. It sent
My mom was in high school when that happened. She saw that. She was in Portland when this happened, and my dad was in Montana when it happened, and he had ash, 2 inches of ash in Billings, Montana from St. Helens. That's a lot of ash, very far away. St. Helens is pretty powerful.
And debris more than 80,000 feet up into the air. and into the surrounding areas. That killed about 60 people. There were rock slides immediately, and later created the largest landslide
Rock
ever
slides
recorded.
immediately. I don't know if you just saw the pictures, but the way it erupted, it kind of erupted with a rock slide. Not even a rock slide, a mountain slide, because half of the mountain slid away into an eruption explosion. So, yeah, I think the rock slides were the least of the concerns.
Due to high pressure and steam under the earth. Now that eruption, it was preceded by a series of earthquakes for the next 2 months and numerous steam venting episodes all across that area. But fear not, scientists say that this crack or fissure may not be a prelude to an eruption or mass extinction just yet. Now, Holland, they say...
Just yet, but in a way that kind of plants the seed. I mean, it's something to really be concerned of. Granted, we shouldn't be worried about it now, but we should be really worried about our future about that.
Cracks to rock face happen all the time with the tectonic plates shifting, said that backwards. And park officials just need some time to conduct some risk assessment, make sure that it's okay for visitors to go back and, not be injured by possibly falling rocks. And the tourists should be back there hopefully pretty soon, Holland.
So glass half full, it hasn't happened in 600,000 years.
Yes.
Why would it happen now? Glass half empty, maybe we're overdue.
We might be. The earth has to do something with that pressure.
Thank you, Manila Chan.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel.
You're welcome, mysterious bearded man who's sitting idly by on a green screen, ready to say your talking point. Damn, son. But, oh, I don't know if I shared this yet.
We are here today to present you
water
our results and the fact that we have found liquid water in the substrate base of Mars.
This was our conclusion. We saw that the bright refractions we were observing...
So now it's official. We have discovered water officially on Mars because there's now an underwater lake on Mars. There is water on Mars. Liquid water on Mars. Yes. Underwater lake on Mars. That means there's liquid water on Mars. Underground. There's plenty of ice, of course. And if there's ice, there's bound to be liquid water. It's only a matter of time before we were going to discover it. I'm fascinated and I'm really, excited that we were able to discover it, but I'm also not surprised, too, at the same time. It's like, we've known for a while there's ice on Mars, but now, when's the time where's the liquid water? Where is it there? I mean, granted, there is probably that possibility there is none at all. Maybe it was just literally there at where the ice is. Maybe that is the water. That was it. But nope, it's not. There's water, at least one, or at least a few underwater or underground lakes. So that is amazing. On a different planet. Imagine what is living in there. What lives, there could still possibly be life on Mars, living in those lakes. And what could be living there? Granted, this life is not going to be advanced or intelligent or, superior by any means. It's probably going to be similar to microbiology that we see in our local lakes, wherever you go. So, it will be fascinating to see what it will look like because it's going to be alien, no matter what. But, it's not going to be anything astonishing if there is. And also there's possibility of underwater oceans on Europa under its ice, so there could be life there. I mean, when there's water, there's going to be life, or at least to what our understanding of life is. There could be life that's sulfur-based or silicon-based, so it could take different compounds and chemical combinations to survive besides what we live off of and what we know life lives off of. But, it's just like one step closer to discovering some shit, man. It's good. It's awesome shit.
What you think is within the South Polar layer deposits,
might not be explained by dry material. We came thus to the conclusion that the only possible explanation for the bright reflection was the presence of liquid water. Thank you.
Yes, another planet to go fuck up. Indeed. Unfortunately, you're a little late, Joe. I'm actually wrapping it up. I was just watching some videos. But it's good to see you, though. It's good to see you. Though, you missed a lot of interesting things. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. You missed a lot of interesting shit. See my new desk, though? Here. I'm sitting at it. Check it out. Bam, bitch. Yeah, there I got all this set up and everything. Yeah, it's all nice, dude. It's all looking nice and great. Fuck yeah. It's a little bit more square than I would like it, but I don't give a shit. Getting professional, damn straight, dude. And my brother might also have another corner desk that I could put right here. So 2 desks. So I just might be in luck. I might just get like superficial here, man. I mean, things might get really good looking. So, one step at a time. One step at a time. Eventually, my next goal is this fucking thing. I'm sick of this. I'm really sick of this. So then I can move my bed 90 degrees so I have room here. And we actually got more of a space that we can use and shit. So, in time. But, let's look at one more video, though. Cleaning up the room, bucko. Indeed. I gotta clean that room, bucko. Clean the whole rooms. Speaking of which, I think there might... Here we go. Because, speaking of Jordan Peterson, might as well watch something on Jordan Peterson, or at least about him.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, that, to assume that all Mexicans are in the cartel, it's the same. Well, they're threatened by radical Islamic terrorists. Yeah. You want to pay him? But he might have actually, more than likely, was because of a personal feud, and more aggressive.
Trying to find the
Everybody
part.
gets more aggressive. You get more aggressive at them, and you're like, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna arm themselves, and you're gonna make people escalate their rhetoric. Like, trying to figure out how we all get along.
How to solve problems.
How to solve problems.
I mean, right, you digging your heels into one team or the other, you got to try to solve problems, but it's way easier. Persuasion's
I think we're about to come up on
punishment,
it.
Destruction's way easier. It's
But
way easier.
here's the thing: if they get him out of office, here's the thing: if they do, there was like, if there was clear enough evidence that he had committed a crime, and the fucking going after people.
Where is it?
Qualities for a society to have is civility. And what does civility mean? The founding fathers did not agree on a lot of stuff. I mean, Madison didn't agree with Hamilton and
okay, I think this is it right here.
They were very much at odds about how to go forward with this republic, but they talked it out. They compromised. Nobody got violent besides Aaron Burr and fucking Hamilton later. But for the most part, they compromised. They talked. And George Washington said, civility, the ability to listen to the other side, even though when you don't agree with them, and put your ideas together, that's how you move things forward. We just don't have that anymore.
Yeah,
we just don't have it at all.
I think that's a really good point, and that's what bothers me the most about this. Is not that they're not correct, that there's some real problems. Yeah. It's the way everybody's going about it that makes me say, like, do you understand what happens when you yell at people? Like, you can't just push people. There's people that don't understand violent consequences. There's people that don't understand conflict, and they don't know how to mitigate it, and they don't know how to, like, be calm and how to figure their way through a situation. There's dangerous levels of aggression that get reached when you have, like, Antifa feuding with these people that are trying to do some sort of a speech somewhere, and there's supporters of the speech, and then there's Antifa, and everybody's getting together and screaming, and there's fire and bike locks, and people are beating the shit out of each other. All this stuff. I mean, there's plenty of videos of this happening. This doesn't have to end here, okay? This wasn't here 5 years ago. Understand this. That this could escalate in 5 years to be significantly worse than it is now. Yeah. And me as a person who,
I mean, overall, I'm actually really agreeing with Joe's point here because, I think it's more than just about as much as the right than as much as the left. I think it's both parties. So, but I think, you know, I agree with the whole point in general, though. So, like, this whole, like, divide, you know, could potentially get worse, and also it could potentially just, you know, it could, you know, go on a steady decline too, but it can also get exacerbated and get worse, you know. And the more you divide and the more you're just like spewing hate each other, like fuck Nazis or fuck you litard cucks, you know, the more it's going to get worse. I mean, and the more that it, you know, we're not going to get anywhere. Things are just going to continue to stagnate and continue on the status quo. Now, granted, a lot of that's being perpetrated by the mainstream media, you know, continue on these divides with the left and the right, and it likes to encourage these divides. But, you know, we need to have people, at least people who are smart enough to try to unite people to go over that point and just be like, can we just not give a fuck about labels and actually try to, you know, work together and shit. And granted, people are still gonna, you know, lash out on their fucking divides, but at least you're gonna start winning people over occasionally and start having people hear your point. And the more you get that out there, the more likely you're gonna have people win over to your ideas. I mean, that's just the way we gotta do, is just continue to talk and debate and continue having open discussions as much as possible. Try to continue it, you know, despite, you know, the blowback we're gonna get by these fucking SJWs and PC leftists even on the right too, you know, like, oh, you know, you don't believe in abortion or Christianity or blah blah blah, then fuck you, I ain't gonna talk to you, blah, blah, blah. You know, a lot of them will like to, because they think they got all the answers of, you know, their, you know, bias in their indoctrination on the religions and shit. But, you know, a lot of times, a lot of them are just going to get triggered and just leave anyway, because you're challenging them on their beliefs if, you know, you're, you know, have enough common sense on to challenge them on that. So, I don't know, man. It's just like, we need, like, these divides are just getting fucking ridiculous. And, you know, the more we polarize ourselves, the more, you know, things generally are not going to get done and are going to get worse. And, you know, we're just going to let the world continue to burn as, you know, goes on. I mean, it is a dangerous problem and a very dangerous mentality to get into.
I don't want violence around me. I see that shit coming, and I go, oh, these guys are fighting. Let's get the fuck out of here. You don't want to go get close to them and hope you catch a stray bullet. No.
Well, especially
the problem is that
comes in 5-10 years, like fuck.
Dude, the problem is that conflict comes to you.
Yes.
I mean, the problem is that
you know, they could. It's unnecessary. It's not how we should communicate. You know, and I think there's also people that are emboldened by movements, right? They become a part of a movement, and then they want to do something to commit to that movement. It's very similar to joining a fucking militia. It's very similar to joining a resistance
social media
movement.
makes it easier too. Yeah. Social media has made it easier to find your tribe, surround yourself with people who see the world exactly like you do, and organize and attack the other side.
You know, they say with social media, that's what makes ISIS kind of so violent and also so scary, is because social media, the first ones to kind of master social media.
Yeah.
I will give ISIS that. A lot of their success came through technology and through social media. I will give them that. So, I mean, and it's because a lot of people from the West, for some reason, got won over by the ideology. Don't know how, don't know why, don't give a fuck. They're generally retarded morons who need to either get re-educated or fucking executed as terrorists, either or. Whichever one they prefer. So, you know, like, you know, what the fuck? What is this moth doing here, dude? Bruh. Like, bruh. But, I don't know, man, like, you know, that, like, their success did come from that, and, you know, it's, and there is definitely a question of, like, how do you deal with that while at the same time continuing to have this free market of ideas and shit, because they're, to be honest, they're competing in it just as much as everyone else is. It's just that they have violence to back it up. So, I mean, you know, like, how do you curb, you know, these especially violent groups while at the same time to continue to have these debates? I mean, you know, I guess on one hand you could just call out the violence and just be like, you know, you're just a violent group. Why should we even listen to you when you're, killing, people and doing this, doing that, executing, beheading people and shit like that? But, of course, we can't really, debate with ISIS. Can't really have a discussion of them. They're kind of too far gone. But, it's definitely a question, that kind of puts up out there. It's like, what about these radical groups? Because, you kind of don't think about them that much when you, do discuss about these whole debates and ideas. It's like, what about these radical fringe violent groups? Not really just like these fundamentalists, too far gone, just crazy talk groups. I'm talking about like the ones who do it so seriously they get violent. But I don't know. Interesting talk though. Couldn't find anything on Jordan Peterson though, but whatever. But I need to wrap it up because I got work tomorrow. So I had a nice long stream, so it was much needed. But I can start seeing a little baggage in my eyes, and that's not good. Don't like that. But anyway, my man. Hope you enjoy yourselves. Hope everyone enjoys the stream. Hope you enjoyed like the 30 minutes of extra bullshit of me just doing nonsense. But yeah, and I'll see you all next one. And peace out, everybody. And yeah, my man. I think you fell asleep there, sir. Only 15 minutes. Oh, you weren't asleep there, sir. But yeah, but don't worry. You got like 2 extra hours of some really fun stuff to look at. There was a guy that came in earlier that was quite interesting, and I think you'll have a very fun time having a look at. But anyway, my man, enjoy yourself, and have a good rest of whatever time it is of day it is there. Peace.